What up, it's your boy AsisGalvin, coming at you guys with the next vlog. I'm just looking for a good spot. I'm outside my job right now. This vlog is vlog number 9, and we're gonna pick up right where I left off last time. I'm actually sweating. I'm outside right now. I know it's cold a lot of the places where you guys are at, but right now, right here, it's hot. It's like 70, 80, it's like 80. Anyway, let's get into it. I like these free holding camera like vlogs. Anyway, let's go. Mia calls me. After everything I went through, she gives me a call. She's like, yo, I don't care what you're doing. I want to see you tonight. I'm thinking I'm in trouble. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, it's already like freaking 8 o'clock. I'm like, you want me to, this is kind of short notice. I'm like, you really want to do this? She's like, I don't care what you're doing. I want to see you tonight. I'm like, is it that serious? She's like, I don't have much time. I will be outside no matter what at 12. I'm like, all right. Mind you, I'm like an hour and a half away from her. She hangs up. I'm like, all right, well, this is a good opportunity for me to let her know that, you know, I'm going to be moving in like a week. Well, not me necessarily. I'm thinking they're going to be moving. I have to move as well because I'm not going to be living in a house that no one's living in. So I'm going to have to eventually move somewhere else, whether it be with a friend or whatever. So right off the bat, I'm like, all right, fine. I give Tookie a call right after I get off the phone with her. I'm like, yo, son, something's about to go down. I might need to move with you. That's what Tookie, by the way, Tookie's my god brother. I've known Tookie my whole life. Literally probably from 15, way younger than 15, maybe like 10, all the way up. And I'm going to eventually get into that when I go over my childhood. See, we started from 14 and going forward. When I get to eventually, you know, like, you know, young age to 14, then I'll talk about him a lot more. You guys will hear about more about him. Regardless, I'm like, yo, Tookie, yo, I might need to actually move in with you. Stuff is going down. It's crazy right now. He's like, yo, come through now. I'm like, yo, I'm already there. I'm already moving. I already hopped in the whip, took off. Now I get over there relatively quickly because I was speeding like crazy. I was dumb pissed off. I was like, yo, I got to get over here and get this all sorted out because everything's collapsing. Like my whole situation in Avalon is collapsing. My whole situation of being comfortable living in a place where I usually like collapsing. Everything's going down the drain. I go see Mia. Well, before I go to see Mia, I go see Tookie. I'm telling him about the situation. He's like, yo, I'm gonna talk to my mom about you being able to stay, and then we'll see what happens. I'm like, cool. I run off. I start heading over to where Mia's at. I get there at 11:30. I'm waiting. She comes out. She like comes down the street. She gives me a big ass hug, and she tells me, and I'll tell you word for word what she said. She said, I'm so effing through with all this. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I got into an argument with my parents the other day, and I'm just really tired of this. I can't take it. It's just too hard on me. I can't deal with not seeing you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, I know the feeling. Believe me. I told her straight out, I'm like, I'm doing like just things I normally wouldn't be doing. I'm like, this whole situation's just destroying me. I don't like it. And then she's like looking at me with these teary eyes, and I'm like, oh shit, I still got to tell her about me moving. So then I tell her, all right, look, my parents are trying to move and leave the state. She starts getting mad, teary-eyed. She's like, what are you talking about? You just moved. You guys haven't been here a year. What are you talking about? Where are you going to go? I'm like, I don't know. I have my car, so we'll be good. And I made a promise to her. I was like, yo, no matter what, I'm not going nowhere. That's what I said. She calmed down when I promised her that because I don't break promises. I go ahead and I'm like, all right, you know, tell me some more about what the hell's going on. How did this arise? She goes and tells me that essentially her parents didn't let her do something with one of her friends because they thought that she was going to come see me. They don't know where I'm at. But she's like, oh, you know, she wanted to do something simple, like go to one of her friends' birthday parties. And her parents denied that. They deaded that. They were like, nope. And she's like getting really pissed off the fact that they would tell her no because they thought that she was going to come see me. So even though I'm mad far away, but they don't know that. They don't know where I'm at. Long story short, it was a pretty emotional conversation we had. After that, we chilled. I don't remember what we did, but I told her that, yo, I only got like a week left before I have to figure out a place to live. I told her I don't know where I'm going. I'm thinking about Tookie, but there's not really many people that I can go to in this situation. And, you know, she's thinking about it, and she's like, yeah, there really isn't. I'm like, yeah, I know. So I'm like, damn, we got to figure out something. So I'm like, all right, well, we'll figure it out. After that, we left that conversation alone. We chilled for the rest of the night. We had a good time. I haven't seen her mad long. And then I will let you guys know, when I was chilling with her, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, yo, this feels correct. I didn't really like do anything. That was one night I didn't actually even kiss her because I was just like, I'm not going to violate her like that because at this moment I'm not even with her. I won't violate. real talk. I spent that whole night talking to her, like sitting up and pretty much catching up on everything that was going on with us. So I didn't even actually do anything. I was just kind of like just hanging in there, just, you know, hanging in there, talking to her. We needed to catch up. There was a lot that we didn't get to talk about. There was a lot going on, so I wanted to make sure I let her know everything. So we talked that whole night. I stayed with her till almost 4 in the morning, which is the longest we've ever stayed together during a period of time, which is like 4 hours. Talk. Dropped her off, gave her a hug, and she went in for the kiss. And I pretty much told her, like, no, let's just save it. Let's just save it. She's like, why? I'm like, because, like I said, we still on that break thing. Let's just save it. She's like, all right, fine. She went inside. So Tookie finds out the next morning, because I go back. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I go over to Tookie's house, and I'm just sitting out his house because I couldn't get in contact with him because he was sleeping. So I'm sleeping in my car, technically. I wake up in the morning. I go holler at him. I'm like, yo, what'd she say? He's like, yeah, I talked to her last night. She said, nah, she can't do that, blah, 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 blah. Plus, my mom is mad good friends with his mom, and my mom already told him we were leaving, so she was kind of siding with his mom, so I couldn't do anything with that. So there goes my spot of actually being able to stay somewhere. Now, after talking to Mia and talking to this, I go back to Avalon that next day, and I see Jennifer. First thing I do is see Jennifer. I'm just kind of like looking at her. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to talk to her. I think that was the last time I ever seen her, too. I seen her. She seen me. She looked at me like she wanted me to say something. I didn't do anything, and that was it. I also seen Trish that day, and I told Trish, yo, I'm moving. I can't. I'm moving, and I'm about to get mad focused back on what I need to be getting focused on. She's like, what is that supposed to mean? Your mom already told me she was moving before she said, your mom already told me you were moving. You guys were moving before she even told you. I'm like, what you mean? She's like, yeah, we were talking about it. You know, I told her it was a good idea. I'm like, you told her it was a fucking good idea to move? I'm like, and she was talking to you about this before she talked to me? She's like, oh, well, it wasn't really your mom. It was Steve. I'm like, so why'd you say my mom first? She's like, well, you know, I don't know. I messed up. I'm like, no, you're just lying. I'm like, Steve must have told you not to tell me. So you just slipped up and said that, right? She's like, well, you know, he was just, I was like, nope, say no more. Get the fuck out. Straight up. I was like, get the fuck out. Get out my house. Because she was over my crib that day. Told her to get out. And I called her, I think when she was leaving, and I was like, yo, real talk, I'm going to get focused back on what I need to get focused on, which means I'm going to be dealing back with Mia. I'm not dealing with any of this nonsense. It's over. Like, it's a dub. Like, peace. That was it. So now I have nobody. There's no Jennifer. Lexi's gone. Tamango's about to leave. I'm sitting here like, shit, I got like 4 days to figure out what I'm doing. The whole house is getting packed up mad quick. I go to school, I come back, half the house is packed up. I'm like, damn, how did these doing this fast? They were packing up everything. So, here we come. Move day. No, wait. Sorry. Let me go back real quick. I seen Mia the last 3 days I was before moving. So that was the 4th day. So one more day went by. I had to even get my stuff packed. I didn't know where I was going to go. Last 3 days. This video is going to consist of the last 3 days real quick, okay? So the 3rd day, I go over to Toogie's house, and I'm staying over to Toogie's house the last 3 days. My brother Zis and godbrother Toogie are around me for the whole 3 days, so I'm chilling with them. We're talking it up. I'm telling them, like, I'm trying to figure out something. My brother Zis is literally doing everything in his power to figure out a place for me to be and go. I'm talking about this nigga was putting in work all day. I would see one of those days, the second day, I didn't even see him. So the whole premises of me being in Peekskill that whole time was to pretty much be around Mia the last 3 days. I called her that 3rd day, and I was like, listen, I can't do this apart thing from you. I don't know what's going to happen in our future with this whole, like, moving thing. But what I want to do is I don't got time to be fooling around playing games with this whole thing. Let me go ahead and let's just try to make this work again. I'm ready to put that work in. I'm tired of being, like, scared of it. Let's just give this a go. She was like, okay. I solidified it. We were back together again. Night number 3. So I go see her that night. Toogie's with me. Zis is with me. Some other girls were there, and we all chilling. It was a good night. We all chilled. We chilled. We didn't talk about nothing. We act like it wasn't even happening. Second night, the whole second day goes by. I don't see Zis the whole day. Second night comes. I'm chilling with Mia again. This time, I'm actually bring up the situation of, like, yo, they're maybe trying to, like, screw me over in the movement. She's like, well, they can't screw you over in the movement. I'm talking about my parents. I'm like, yeah, no, but, you know, I just got this feeling. I'm like, I just feel like they're thinking about, I don't know, trying to make me go with them. I'm like, she's like, oh, no, but why would they do that? You're like, you know, you're your own person. I'm like, I know, but where am I going to go? And on top of that, we pretty much got into a conversation about what am I going to do if these niggas try to make me go? She's like, oh, it ain't gonna happen. Remember, you promised me. And I'm like, she hit me with that dagger. Like, you promised me, so you said you can't go. I'm like, fuck. Last day comes, right? I tell my mother, and I'm gonna quote this word for word. I'm like, yo, mom, I'm not going. I told her, she didn't know, she thought I was going up until this whole point. I'm like, yo, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, I've been here my whole life. This is not for me. This is not the move for me. I want to be around the people I've been around. I'm not going. I'm going. She's like, so where are you gonna go? I'm like, I'm gonna find a place to stay here. Do what I have to do. Like, I got people here, and plus my girl's here. I'm like, I'm not going nowhere. She's like, oh, but you can't leave. I'm like, what do you mean I can't leave? She's like, well, you can't leave. I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, well, like I said, you're gonna have to bring the car down there. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, wait, bring the car down there for what? She's like, you gotta bring the car down to Virginia. I'm like, for what? She's like, oh, because that's where it belongs. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, the car is under my name. At this point, like I told y'all, that car was not under her name. And if it was, I don't remember that, because I remember it being under my name, and I never remember switching over, but yeah, it was in my name. I think it was insurance she was talking about. I don't remember, but she's like, yeah, the car's in my name. It's coming with me. I'm like, whoa, son. Like, so you're gonna try to take, I'm like, so you're essentially gonna try to take my vehicle, essentially. Hold on, security guard over here. He might try to holler at the kid like, yo, what you doing out here, son? Hold on a second. We'll see in a second. So that's essentially pretty much what happened with, hold on. So let me stop. Anyway, so she's like, yeah, you can't take the car. She's like, you're gonna have to leave with me, or you're gonna just have to come. I'm like, hell no, you ain't getting that car. She's like, yeah, I am. We pretty much got a huge argument. This is the last day before I leave. I leave the next morning. Just think about this. All this happened in less than 3 weeks. All this. So she's like, I'm taking the car. You ain't taking it nowhere. I'm like, no, you're not. She's like, I am. And she was dead ass serious. She was really gonna take it. So I'm like, yo, what am I gonna do? I'm like, I storm out the house. Take the keys. No, she's like, give me the keys. I'm like, hell no. Leave the house. I drive straight to Pisco. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I can't even have my car. And I'm thinking, how am I gonna make anything work if I don't have my car? What's the point of being Pisco if I don't have a car? I can't see her. Won't be able to see her at all. And plus, I don't have a place. So I'm getting pinned into a position where I can't do anything. I see Mia that night. This is one of the most important nights that we've ever had. It was very definitive. And I'm going to use the rest of this video explaining this one night. This is the farewell, essentially, to everybody, because as you guys can already tell, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to stay in Peekskill or anywhere near the area I was. So I see her the last night, right? And Toogie's there too. Toogie's with this girl, this other chick, which I'll get into more later. Wait, who is he with? No, he wasn't with another chick. I'm sorry. That's when I get back. Regardless, forget that. He's there with a Zis, I believe. Anyway, it's 4 of us. We go to this park. It's, what's the name of that park? I don't remember the name of it. But we go to this park. It's on the riverfront. And essentially, it's like you drive into this. All right, let me explain how it looks, because this is something I really want to explain to y'all. This is important. This is very important. You drive in through this long ass road. You go through like a little town, and then you finally get to like these woods. You go through the woods. You go down a hill, and boom, you're in this park. Now the park has two levels to it. There's a down. You can go down or you can go up. If you go up by the playground. There's swings up there, cookout places. You go down to the bottom. There's boat docks. There's like parks and slides and waterfront. So we're driving, and with no one saying a word, everybody's sad. Tookie tries to bring up some funny stuff, but we're just sitting there like, nah, son, this is a sad day. So we get there. I tell them like, yo, I'm gonna go chill with her for the next hour or so. Don't get lost, don't get arrested. I'll find you guys, and I'll holler at y'all in a few. They're like, okay. They're like, all right, Ace. They leave. So I hold Mia's hand. I'm gonna be very detailed here, because this is one of those memories that really forces me to do crazy things later, because of the memory that it leaves with me and the way I'm looking at it. I'm like, yo, you guys are gonna understand. So I'm gonna be very detailed here. Bear with me. I'm sorry if it takes forever for me to get it out. I just really need you guys to understand this, because this is huge. All right, it's an important night. We start off by going to this park. We go to the park. As soon as we get out the car, I walk over, I open her door, she gets out, I grab her hand, I tell them what I need to tell them, I throw Zis the keys, and I leave, and I start walking. Now we're walking, we can't see anything, it's pitch black. I'm not sure if you guys know what it's like in New York, but when it starts thunderstorming at night, the sky turns pink. It's really crazy. So the whole sky was like this dark pink. In the middle of the night, mind you. And it's dark pink. I'm like, yo, I'm holding her hand. I'm like, yo, as soon as we get over here by the where we need to get to, we're gonna talk, okay? She's like, okay. She's just quiet. She looked really pretty that night too. She had like her hair done. She looked really, really nice. It looked like she was going out in the middle of the day. She was dressed really nice and casual. She looked nice. She looked really nice. I was just like, oh, she looked nice for me. You know, farewell thing. Cool, great. So we walk. We get to the shore. At this point, we hear thunder. No rain. So we hear thunder. I'm holding her hand. We walk up to the shore. We stop. Now, to me, all I see is water. I see city lights. I see pink skies. And I can't really see her face because it's that dark. So I'm talking to her. I'm looking at her silhouette. So when I'm looking at her silhouette, she's kind of facing this way towards all the water will be behind me in the sky. And then I'm over here like this looking at her this way. So I can see the water and all of her. So that's the kind of the image I have. Now the sky's pink, the water's black, the water's reflecting pink and white from the lights on the other end. I'm talking to her, I'm like, look, it seems as if I have no choice. Now mind you, I'm gonna get into what I said and I'm gonna explain it. I said, it seems like I don't have a choice. My mom's not gonna let me keep the car. I have to take the car there. Hopefully I can maybe take the car there and bring it back or do something, but if I don't have the car, I can't do anything. You know, I'm like, I can't do anything. What can I do? She's like, and I'm gonna tell you, quote, word for word. And this was mad long ago. I still remember this. She's like, you know, you don't have to say anything. I know you tried. You always try. It's just one of those things that we have to endure. I mean, love endures all things. It bears all things. Remember, I told you she always talked about those scriptures. And I wasn't trying to hear that. I was just like, ugh. I'm like, no, man. Like, this is just not fair. I was getting mad at my mother. And the more mad I got, the more teary-eyed I got. I actually was getting teary-eyed because I was like, she's taking everything away from me. I was blaming her, but in reality it was Steve. I was kind of blaming both of them. But I can't blame her for that, and I will get to that afterwards. Let me get to that now, actually. I can't blame my mother for this situation. No, let me get to that afterwards. I told her, you know, that she's taking everything away from me. They're really doing me dirty, blah, 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 blah. She calms me down. I literally get mad emotional. At this point, I'm just like almost at the breaking point because I start realizing, like, I don't know when the next time I'm going to see this girl is. And I always had a fear in my heart with her, which was she's such a good girl. I'm like, yo, if I let her go, if I'm not around, there's a possibility that she's going to end up with somebody else. That was always on my mind. I even told her that when I first met her. Like, one of the first things I ever told her was, you know, you're young now, but there's a possibility you may want to see what's out there one day. And I don't like that. She's like, no, I won't. I'm like, you can't say that. I'm like, you don't know what you have until you know what's out there. So you may think I'm good, but you won't really know until I'm compared to somebody else. So can you go the rest of your life with that uncertainty? You know, that's always something I said to her. And I said it to her again that night. I'm like, yo, I don't want to leave you. Like, there's nothing on this planet I wouldn't do to be around you. I'm like, so I don't want to leave you. I don't want to be in that situation where I'm not with you. She's like, well, what can you do? I'm like, well, there's really nothing I can do. Like, even though there was, I could have said, screw you, Mom, take the car, threw her keys, and then did what I had to do and just did everything on foot. I could have did that. But I didn't do that because I was too young to realize that materialistic things aren't important, which I'm going to get to later. But she's like, yo, like, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not okay. So I'm just getting mad upset. We're sitting there having a talk, and then I just eventually leave it to her. I'm like, yo, I want to explain. I told her, I was like, I'm going to explain to you how I feel. And I explained to her everything how I felt, like I just told you guys, how I felt like everything was just crashing down. And I'm like, you know, all I really care about is making sure that I'm with you. And she's like, you know, there's sometimes we're going to have to part ways. There's things we're going to have to do. I understand that. And then I go to even say some more. And she's like, don't say anything. She's like, honestly, I understand, like, you know, the situation is horrible, but at the same time, we've gotten through things. We'll get through this. We will make it to where we have to make it. You know, we still are waiting for our day. Our day was February 10th, 2007. That was the day where she was going to be 18 and we would have been good. I believe that was the day. Could be wrong, but I think that was. And she's like, yeah, like, you know, that's our day. Focus on that point. Anything that we go through now is going to be worth it when we get to that point. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. And I told her, I'm like, but, and then when I went to go say but, she shushed me and then she hugged me. Now, as soon as she did that, I started noticing that the freaking sky was flashing white. And the reason the sky was flashing white because there was lightning strikes going on above the clouds, but it just kept flashing white. So I just held her. I held her for like a good 5 minutes. It's flashing. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like looking at her. I'm looking at the sky. I'm like, that's crazy. And I turned around, I'm like, do you see this? And when I was looking at her, I looked had her look over, and when she turned around to look, it flashed again, and I seen like just mad tears coming down her eyes. And I'm just like, and to me, I'm looking at that like, oh shit. Remember the last time she cried was in the shower, and essentially this was a completely different type of thing. So I'm like, oh damn it. I'm like, oh, I can't take this. Like, I couldn't take that. And I'm just sitting there looking at her, and I started crying straight up. It's just like, I seen that and she seen that. I guess we tried to be strong, but it only worked for so long, and then we broke. And I'm just sitting there like just holding her, and then we're just sitting there, and we're just like kind of like sharing that moment. And it's all raining. Well, it's not raining, but it's, it's all lightning all over the place, and we're just sitting there. And I told her, and I promised her, I was like, I promise you, no matter what the hell happens, I will come back to you. I will be back here to you before our anniversary. And she's like, what, really? I'm like, yeah, because mind you guys, this was in August. I'd already been in Avalon for 4 months. Remember, last time I seen Mio was April 16th. This is August now. It's like getting towards the middle of August. I'm like, I will see you before our anniversary. And that was January 31st. She's like, yeah, really? I'm like, yeah, I promise you that. I looked her right in her face, like, I promise you that. And she looked at me, and she had a feeling, there was an aura about her that was completely different from anything I've ever felt from her before. And she looked at me, and she's like, okay, so there's something I want to do. I'm like, what? She's like, remember that park that you used to go to when you were a child? There's like this little park I used to go to all the time. And it holds a lot of memories for me. I told her like most of my fun memories, most of my entertainment memories of my childhood are there. I don't have necessarily the greatest childhood, but most of my best memories are in this park. And this park is in Pisco. She looked at me, and she's like looking at me, like she's like right in my face, like just looking at me mad close. She's like, I want to go there. I'm like, for what? She's like, she just take me there. I'm like, all right, whatever. I go find Tookie and Zis. We get in the car, we drive over there. They go somewhere else because now we're back in our hometown. Me and her are there. We go on the playground, and I'm like kind of sitting on top of like where the playground is. I'm just chilling up there, and she's pretty much, I'm sitting with my back against something, and I'm just she's like on top of me. She's just sitting on top of me, but I'm sitting up against something. And then she's looking at me, and we're talking, and we're like kissing and whatnot, but we're really talking about our emotions. Like, we're just kind of taking turns, like, I feel this way about this, and this is how I felt when you were gone. And I was like, yeah, I felt this way. I was being reckless. I couldn't rate it. I was just losing my damn self. I'm like, this is why I can't not be with you. I have to be with you. It's not something I can deal with. And she's like, we keep talking, and eventually I'm in the middle of a conversation. She just shushes me again, and she's like, I'm ready. And I'm like what? Like, what you mean? What? Mad confused, because I never felt this kind of aura from her. I'm pretty sure most of y'all can understand what she was talking about when she said that. If you don't, then I don't need to explain it, and it's not something I'm going to go into. But she said she's ready, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah. And like I said, this is pretty deep for me to be sharing with you guys, but hey, like I said, you guys need to know how important this stuff was. So she lets me know that. And pretty much the rest of that was history. That's not necessarily something I'm going to go into detail about now, but you can kind of understand that was the last time I was going to see her for that entire time. And she was ready. Finally, she just said that she was. I never was nothing a dude to push anything, so I was just like, all right. One thing went to another. Fast forward, I'm dropping her off. When I drop her off, it's kind of like this really eerie, kind of feeling. It's like, I know what's about to happen as soon as she closes that door. As soon as she closes that door, what ends up happening is my entire life is going to just start fucking getting really ridiculous. Every break that I've had, every bit of fun that I had, everything that I enjoyed doing, everybody that I met that I enjoyed being around, everybody I met in Avalon, everybody that I've ever grew up with, all of this is about to end. All of it. And I'm just kind of like, she closed the door, I get out, she closed the door, I gave her this one last hug. I gave her a hug with the kind of aura which is like, this may be the last hug I may ever give you. I could possibly die. I don't know what's going to happen to me. But I told her, I whispered to her, I was like, I will keep my promise no matter what. I'm like, I will keep my promise no matter what. And I kissed her, and she walked away, and I had to literally hold that L. That shit was one of the worst. The fucking worst. It's almost like you're walking in a valley of a shadow of death, right? You're with an angel the whole fucking time. So you don't even realize that your surroundings are mad shitty because you're with an angel, essentially, right? And then you have to know, you get to this final point where your time is up and you got to let that angel go, and nothing changes other than she's gone, but the protection, the light, and the comfort that you had are absolutely gone. That's exactly what happened. She left, As soon as she walked up that hill and turned into the shadows, I felt it. I was like, oh, here we go. It's about to begin. I go back. I drive back to Peekskill, almost in fucking tears the entire way back. Like, oh my God, man. Literally, 24 hours from now, I will not be anywhere near here. I'm like, this is crazy. I go back. I say bye to Tookie. We're all sitting outside. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I said goodbye to them. I gave them all hugs. I told them I'd be back. Gave them my word on that. And I was like, yo, I love y'all to death. They all gave me these little things to like kind of take with me. And I was out. And when I left, got in the car, I got back to my house, and first thing I see is this fucking fat bastard Steve waiting outside with this smile on his face. Mind you, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning when I get back. He's outside with a smile on his face loading his truck up. And I'm just looking at him like, bastard. And then he's like, yeah, we're getting ready to go, so you better get everything. I'm like, I'm not putting shit in my car. Straight up. I told him straight up. I'm like, the only thing I'm transferring to Virginia is this car. Don't ask me to put a fucking thing in it. I told him just like that. I ain't putting shit in this car. And no matter, the only thing I put in my car was a cooler. Everybody else got their car full of stuff. I'm like, I'm only putting this in there. We get packed up. We get ready to roll out. It gets right to that last moment. I tell my mom one more time. I'm like, look, I do not want to go. I haven't slept in like almost like 48 hours. I'm like, I don't want to go. I do not want to be a part of this. I'm just want to stay here. Let me keep this. She's like, no, you gotta. I'm like, you know what, whatever. Mind you, at that point, that is the point where I allowed a materialistic object to actually control something. Ever since that moment, ever since that pain that I felt watching Mia walk away, knowing that I gave all that up for a goddamn car wasn't even fucking close to worth it. And I'm sorry I'm getting profane. It pisses me off that I made that mistake, but it's a mistake that everybody has to make that mistake of thinking that materialistic things are worth it, and they're not. If I would have let the car go, I would have never had to deal with the things I had to deal with what you guys are going to see. And the first thing we start off with is the drive to Virginia. I haven't had no sleep. The truck is over full. There's plants hanging out the side of the truck that we're moving in. There's a car, my mom's Eclipse, is towed to the back of the car. It's towed to the back of the car. So it's like you have a U-Haul truck that's full to capacity. You have an Eclipse, a 2000-something Eclipse sitting on the back of it. You have mad stuff all over the place. Everything my mother's ever earned and worked for is filled in that truck. And this asshole's driving crazy on the damn highway. He's driving on uneven pavement where half the truck's off the side of the pavement. Cars are about to run into the side of the truck. So I'm like trying to block. I'm behind the truck the whole trip trying to block cars from coming over and over and over again. But essentially we make it to Virginia. We get to this freaking house that I've never seen. I go upstairs, I sit down, and I stay there. I stayed in that fucking room for 3 days. I didn't come out. I didn't say a fucking word to nobody. No internet. I didn't have no video games. I just sat there. I sat there, and I thought about how fucking miserable I was that I went there. And I sat there. And I sat there. And I sat there. And I sat there for literally... I probably spent the first 2 months of my life in Virginia sitting in that room. So, and eventually this video is going to lead off with me getting into having to talk to Mia. I actually talked to her a month after I was there, and it was through an email. And she told me some things that was going on and how she felt and how she was repping me and all that. She was repping me hard in her school, hard. Even though I was gone, she was repping a nigga hard. And that day that she talked to me, she essentially told me, she's like, look, I love you. You're going to make it through this. I look forward to your return. Mind you, I already wasted 30 days. I'm just rotting away in my room. I'm just like, you know what game I'm playing? Actually, I played a game after 2 weeks. I was playing that Spider-Man 2 game for PS2. You know, the one where the city finally opened up? That's all I played. I was playing that. She told me to get out and do something. She's like, enjoy my time. Get out and do something. I'm like, all right. I get outside. I take my skateboard. I used to skateboard hard. I get back to my skateboard shit. I get my skateboard and I go outside and I'm walking down the street. I see a Puerto Rican girl, a black dude, and then I see mad other black dudes, and then I see like this white dude on the left-hand side, and there's a cop car parked in his driveway. I'm looking at them both like, all right, black guys, Puerto Rican girl, white dude, cop car. And they're all like, everybody's kind of looking down the street because I'm walking right down the middle of the road. And then I kind of make my decision to turn left and just say what up to the guy, the white dude. And the white dude actually was walking out of his driveway, and guess what he had in his hand? Goddamn skateboard. And he lives right next across the street from me. I'm like, you skate? He's like, yeah, I skate. I'm like, me too. I said it just like that. I'm like, I'm just kidding though. I'm like, Ace, what's your name? He's like, Miles. And this was the beginning of some interesting stuff. So I met Miles that day, and next time we come back, we're gonna get into me and Miles' friendship, because the countdown begins. The countdown begins. After next video, I'm gonna tell you guys in the next video everything that happened in Virginia, and in the video after that, we're gonna be taking a little trip. So holla at your boy. This was episode 9, I believe. And I will be hitting you guys with another one of these, because I'm gonna be recording one at night, one in the daytime. So we can keep you guys up to steez on up to beat rather on everything. All right. It's your boy AsisGalvin, and I will tell you guys the truth. Real talk. Talking about that shit hurts, but not because the situation, but because of the things that happen afterwards. And when